You know that feeling when you walk into a store, see something that looks helpful, pre-cut pineapple, cheese strings, salad kits, and think, this saves me time? But what if I told you that time saved is costing you more than you think? Those are the tricks few people catch. I'm pulling back the curtain today. If this hits home, drop a 1 in the comments. And hey, if you like getting these kinds of hidden tips, make sure to subscribe to Undercover Spoon. You won't want to miss what's coming up later in this video. You're being nudged, prodded, and steered by packaging, placement, and promises. And the real shocker is, the worst money traps are items you pick up every week without giving them a second thought. Here's where it starts getting real. First, pre-cut fruits and vegetables. Those vibrant trays of watermelon chunks, pineapple slices, peeled carrots look irresistible. But once produce is cut, it begins losing nutrients, texture, flavor. Researchers found that after about 5 to 6 days, vitamin C losses in pineapple, kiwi fruit, etc. can be up to around 10 to 25%. And worse, visually, they start to degrade well before you might notice it. So you're paying for freshness that's already ticking down, flavor that's fading, and often a chunk goes bad before you even finish it. Meanwhile, buying whole fruits and veggies, slicing them yourself, means you control both quality and pace. It's not glamorous, but it saves a lot. Second, big brand cereals. I know, flavor memories, nostalgia, mascots. But here's a secret. In many cases, store-brand cereals are priced at nearly half the cost of name brands, while tasting almost the same. Business Insider showed one cereal where the brand name cost about 35 cents per ounce, while the generic equivalent was only 16 cents per ounce. And it's not always just about the packaging. Often, the ingredients are very similar: sugar levels, oats or corn bases, the crunch. They overlap more than brands want you to believe. People who taste both often cannot tell the difference. Or occasionally, they even prefer the generic version. Letting brand loyalty run the show quietly drains hundreds each year, little by little. Third, individually packaged snacks. Single-serve chips, fruit bars, those little packs, just for me. We grab them because they're easy, because they look harmless. But every time you reach for a single serve, you're paying a premium for packaging plus convenience. Buy a large bag and divide into reusable containers, much cheaper, more efficient, and yes, better for the planet. Fourth, pre-shredded cheese. Beautiful shreds, perfect toppings. But they come with anti-caking agents, cellulose, potato starch, etc. So the cheese doesn't clump together. Those coatings equals extra cost. Also, they interfere with melting. Less stretch, less creamy, less oozy satisfaction. If you grate block cheese yourself, even just a minute every now and then, you get flavor and texture back, and save maybe 30 to 50% per weight. Stores that looked at shredded versus block cheese pricing saw that difference. People who switch almost always feel it when they cook, because in cooking, texture and richness carry emotional weight. That ooze and pull matters. It's more than taste, it's satisfaction. Fifth, bulk bottled water. It might feel like a low-risk buy. Clean water, preparedness, simplicity. But multiply $1 or $2 per bottle by dozens per week, and the cost is huge. Meanwhile, quality home water filters cost up front, but amortized over months or years, they're far more economical. Tap water, filtered if needed, is vastly cheaper. And there's the plastic waste, too. Every bottle produces invisible costs to environment and community that you don't see on the label. These first 5? They're just the tip. The next one's up the scale in terms of wallet leaks. Stick around because by the end, you'll know exactly which habitual buys are quietly bleeding you dry and how to swap them out for better options. If you haven't already, hit subscribe to Undercover Spoon. We're just warming up. Part 2 coming up. Let's pick up where we left off because the traps only get trickier from here. If pre-cut produce and bottled water are the obvious ones once you think about it, these next items hide behind a much cleaner image. They seem healthier, smarter, or safer, but that's exactly the trick. Next up, pre-packaged salad kits. On the surface, they look like the perfect solution. Fresh greens, toppings, dressing, all in one bag. But here's the kicker. That convenience often comes at a price rivaling prime cuts of meat. Think about that. You're paying steak prices for wilted lettuce. A report from the Washington Post found salad kits running as high as $10 per pound, far more expensive than if you bought fresh greens, a tomato, and a cucumber yourself. And here's the quiet betrayal. Most kits are near the end of their shelf life the moment you buy them. By the time you open them, the lettuce is soggy, the croutons stale, and the dressing loaded with preservatives. A healthy choice that ends up half-eaten, half-trashed. 5 minutes with fresh ingredients beats it every time. Now let's walk down the cleaning aisle. Big brand cleaning products, bright bottles, lemon fresh scents, commercials of sparkling counters. It's all theater. The hard truth? Most cleaning sprays, wipes, and detergents share the same active ingredients as the cheaper store brands sitting right beside them. Sodium hypochlorite is sodium hypochlorite, whether the bottle says Mega Clean or Budget Fresh. A 2023 Consumer Reports test showed generic glass cleaner performed nearly identically to a brand priced at twice as much. What you're really buying is the illusion of superiority, fueled by ad budgets bigger than your yearly grocery bill. Once you realize that, suddenly those glossy bottles lose their shine. Then comes the smoothie trap, frozen smoothie packs. You've seen them. Bags with pictures of berries bursting with color, stamped with words like immune support or superfood blend. But let's strip away the marketing. Those blends often contain cheap fillers like bananas or apples as the bulk, with just a sprinkle of the expensive stuff like blueberries or kale. Worse, many brands add sugar or natural flavors that make it less healthy than the image suggests. And the price? Easily 2 to 3 times more than buying plain frozen fruit. Here's a trick insiders use. Buy bulk frozen strawberries, a banana, maybe spinach, and portion your own freezer packs. In 5 minutes, you've got cleaner smoothies at half the cost. And they taste better, because you're not drinking a diluted mix disguised as a superfood. Heading over to the spice aisle, you'll spot another wallet drain. Mini spice jars. Those sleek little bottles lined up like soldiers? They might be the most absurdly overpriced thing in the entire supermarket. Per gram, some of those tiny jars cost 5 to 10 times more than buying in bulk. It's not the spice you're paying for, it's the glass, the label, and the convenience of a shelf-ready jar. Here's what most shoppers don't realize. Spices like cumin, paprika, or oregano can stay fresh for months, even years if stored properly. Smart shoppers refill jars at local markets, bulk stores, or online suppliers for pennies on the dollar. Same punch of flavor without the flavorless price tag. And finally, let's talk mornings. Specialty coffee creamers. Sounds harmless, right? A splash of hazelnut bliss, French vanilla swirl, luxury in a bottle. But flip that bottle around and read the ingredients. You'll see refined sugars, hydrogenated oils, gums, artificial flavors. That creamy indulgence is more like a chemistry experiment. A bottle that looks affordable is actually one of the most overpriced items in the dairy aisle. Milk, cream, and vanilla at home can replicate the taste for a fraction of the cost. And when you make it yourself, you control the sweetness, the texture, the health. Your wallet wins, your coffee wins, and your morning ritual feels more authentic. These last 5 examples prove a pattern you can't ignore. The most convincing traps aren't the obvious junk food. They're the items that pretend to be smarter, healthier, or more convenient. And that's what makes them dangerous. Don't click away yet, because in the final stretch, I'll reveal how all of these traps connect into one bigger system designed to make you overspend without realizing it. And more importantly, I'll show you how a few small swaps can protect your budget for life. Stick with me, this is the part you'll want to share with everyone you know. Here's part 3 of the rewritten script, approximately 700 words. We're moving from the individual grocery traps into the larger game being played in plain sight. So now you've seen the list, top to bottom. From overpriced pineapple chunks to chemical-laden creamers, the pattern is undeniable. Supermarkets and brands design products that seem convenient, safe, or even healthy, while quietly draining your wallet behind the scenes. But here's where it gets even more interesting, because the traps don't exist in isolation. They're part of a bigger system. Think about it. Why are pre-cut veggies right at eye level when you walk in? Why do big brand cereals get the middle shelf while store brands are pushed down low? Why are single-serve snacks always right near the checkout line where you're most likely to grab them last minute? None of this is random. Supermarkets invest millions into planograms, the exact shelf layouts designed to influence what goes into your cart. Every product has been positioned with precision to maximize profit. And then there's the psychology. Notice how prepackaged salad kits always have clear windows so you can see the freshness, or how cleaning products use bright colors like neon blue and green to signal power and safety, or how spice jars are packaged in glass instead of cheap plastic so they feel premium, even when the actual spice inside costs pennies. This is visual theater. You're not just buying a product, you're buying a performance that's been choreographed down to the color, scent, and even the sound of the lid snapping shut. Let's break down a few of the hidden psychological tricks that tie all of this together. Convenience bias. We value things that save time, even if the time saved is tiny. That's why you pay more for shredded cheese or smoothie packs, even though the actual time saved might be 1 or 2 minutes. Brands count on you valuing that convenience far above its real worth. Health halo. When packaging screams fresh, organic, or clean, we automatically assign it extra value, even if the product is no healthier than the cheaper version. Prepackaged salads and frozen smoothie bags are perfect examples. Brand familiarity. You grew up with Tony the Tiger or Lucky Charms Leprechaun. That nostalgia is weaponized. Even as adults, we subconsciously reach for logos we recognize, even when the cheaper option is right there. Unit size illusion, mini spice jars, small snack packs. They trick you into thinking the cost is manageable because the total dollar amount is small. But per gram or per ounce, you're paying luxury-level markups. Here's what's really wild. These tricks compound over time. Buying one salad kit might only waste a few bucks. But week after week across categories, that's hundreds, even thousands, vanishing from your yearly budget. And all of it is designed to feel invisible, so you never notice. Let me give you a story that perfectly illustrates this. A family in Texas decided to cut back after realizing they were overspending on groceries. They tracked every purchase for 3 months. What did they find? They weren't blowing money on big splurges. It was little habits. Pre-cut fruit here, bottled water there, branded cleaners instead of generic. By switching to whole produce, a filter jug, and store brand cleaners, they saved over $1,200 in just 1 quarter. That's nearly $5,000 a year, money they didn't even realize they were losing. And here's the thing. You've probably felt it too. That creeping sense that groceries cost more than they should, even when you're not buying anything fancy. That's not in your head. The traps are set up to bleed you slowly, invisibly, one little purchase at a time. But if this all feels overwhelming, don't worry. Because the flip side of the trap is empowerment. Once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. You start asking, do I need this prepackaged version, or can I just do it myself? Is this brand really better, or is it just marketing? Am I paying for convenience, or am I paying for waste? Those questions turn shopping from a passive experience into a conscious choice. And that's where you win. Not the supermarket, not the billion-dollar cereal brand. You. We've got one final piece of this puzzle left. In the last part, I'll lay out exactly how to flip these traps on their head, turning supermarket strategies into your strategies. By the end, you won't just dodge the traps. You'll actually use them to your advantage. Stick around because this last part ties it all together and shows you how to take back control in ways most shoppers never even consider. All right, we've uncovered the traps. We've seen how supermarkets quietly choreograph everything from where your eyes land to how much you're willing to pay for a jar of oregano. Now comes the real question. How do you fight back? How do you step out of the maze and shop on your own terms instead of theirs? First, remember this. The game isn't about big splurges. It's about small leaks that add up. That's why the smartest move you can make is simply becoming aware. Once you recognize a trap, it loses its power. Suddenly, that bag of pre-shredded cheese doesn't look like time saved. It looks like a 40% markup for less flavor. That bottled water doesn't feel like security. It feels like you're throwing money away on plastic. Awareness is the first shield. Second, lean into raw ingredients over processed shortcuts. Whole carrots, blocks of cheese, bulk rice, uncut fruit. These are your budget's best friends. They last longer, taste better, and cost less. And here's something most shoppers don't realize. When you start with whole ingredients, you're also cutting out hidden additives, preservatives, and fillers. You're not just saving money, you're feeding yourself cleaner, fresher food. Third, outsmart brand loyalty. Ask yourself, am I paying for the product or the commercial I saw during the Super Bowl? Compare labels. Look at active ingredients. Do blind taste tests at home. You'll be shocked at how often the cheap version tastes the same, or better. Once you break that attachment, you free up a chunk of your budget every single week. Fourth, invest in reusables and filters. A good water filter, a set of containers, a cheese grater, a salad spinner. These aren't expenses. They're tools that pay you back month after month. The filter replaces hundreds of bottles. The containers replace countless snack packs. The cheese grater pays for itself in 2 grocery trips. Think of these as the weapons you bring into the supermarket battlefield. Finally, flip the psychology back on the store. Supermarkets use placement and packaging to nudge you toward costly items. Flip it. Start shopping the outer edges of the store. Produce, meats, staples, before you even step into the aisles. That's where the real food is. Stick to a list and train yourself to see the marketing tricks for what they are. Distractions. Once you know the rules, the store stops controlling you. You control the store. Here's the bigger picture. Every one of these small choices stacks up. Say you swap out bottled water for a filter, pre-shredded cheese for block, branded cleaners for generics, and mini spice jars for bulk. That could easily save $40 to $60 a week. Over a year, that's $2,000 to $3,000. And over a decade, you're talking tens of thousands, all from tiny, almost invisible changes. And it's not just about money, it's about confidence. Every time you spot a trap and avoid it, you're proving to yourself that you're not just a consumer being led around by flashy labels. You're someone who sees the game and chooses differently. That confidence bleeds into other areas, budgeting, cooking, even health. Because once you realize the small daily choices matter, you realize they matter everywhere. Now here's the teaser I promised. Supermarkets aren't the only ones playing this game. Fast food chains, coffee shops, even subscription services all use the same tactics. Different stage, same magic tricks. And in future videos, I'll be showing you exactly how deep those tricks run. You won't look at your drive-thru order the same way again. So if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to Undercover Spoon. This channel is about giving you back control, one secret at a time. Because the truth is, the consumer world is full of traps. But once you learn to spot them, you can step out of the maze and keep your money, your health, and your independence exactly where they belong. With you. Let me leave you with this. Every time you pick something off a shelf, you're casting a vote. A vote for how companies treat you, for how much they think they can charge, for how invisible they think their tricks are. When you choose smarter, you're not just saving money, you're sending a message. And if enough of us send that message, the entire system has to change. So what do you think? Have you caught yourself falling for one of these traps before? Drop a number in the comments. 1. if you've ever bought prepackaged produce. 2. If you've shelled out for a big brand name when the generic was right there. I'll be reading through. And remember, the supermarket may set the stage, but you don't have to play their script.